Hey guys, my name is Will, and one of my roles here at Hope is doing the weekly group on Cognitive Behavioural Therapy. So we have cognitive, which is about our thought, how our mind works. Behavioural, which are the choices we take and the actions we make. And then we also have therapy. So we put these all together, and it is quite literally therapy on the interaction between our thought and our mind and our actions and our behaviours. So cognitive behavioural therapy is illustrated by the CBT Triangle. Each point on the triangle is either thoughts, feelings, or behaviors. Something happens, an external event, which then drops us onto this triangle, and we interpret that event with thought. The way we think about something determines how we're going to feel. So if we think that someone doesn't like us, we're going to feel sad. If we get congratulated and we think that people do like us, we're going to feel happy. The way that we feel is going to affect our behavior. If we're sad, we go and isolate and we cry. If we're happy, we jump around with joy and smile. Then the way that we behave is going to then lead to more situations which we will then interpret with thought. So, if this triangle is working in a negative sense, things happen to us, we interpret them poorly, we feel poorly, and then we behave poorly, which leads to more situations we interpret poorly, and the entire thing spirals downwards. So this negative CBT triangle can be especially dangerous when we're talking about addiction, because often the negative behavior is using drugs or drinking. The good news is that we have control over part of this. We have control over the thoughts. It's hard to change how we feel if we're thinking negatively, and it's hard to change how we behave if we're feeling negatively, but we can always interrupt the thought and take our negative thoughts and replace them with new positive ones, which will then lead to positive feelings, positive behaviors, positive situations, which we can then think positively about. So instead of spiraling downwards, we can instead start to build upwards again. And that is the primary purpose of the main tool in CBT, the ABC. So when using the ABC tool, we first look at the A, which is the activating event or trigger. From there, we move on to B, which are our beliefs or our interpretation about the trigger. The B on an ABC is the same as the thought on the CBT triangle. From there, we move on to our C, which are the consequences of our beliefs. These consequences are the same as the feelings and the behaviors when the CBT triangle is acting in the negative. Once we have that, we take each of the B beliefs and we dispute them with a D, which is our new positive thinking. Once we have all those disputes, then we move on to the effective way forward, which are the feelings and the behaviors when the CBT triangle is in a positive. So now let's take a look at what this looks like in real life. So the activating event for this example of an ABC is going to be the end of a long-term relationship. When this relationship ends, we tell ourselves certain things about it, such as, I'll never find someone as great as them, which will lead to us feeling lonely. Or, they never loved me, which might make me feel skeptical or critical of the relationship. We might say, I should have been a better partner, which would make us feel inadequate. Or, I don't understand why this relationship didn't work, which makes us feel helpless. So this illustrates how these thoughts about this activating event then lead to us feeling certain ways and having consequences. For each of these thoughts, we will go through and dispute them to find a new, more positive way to look at the situation. For I'll never find someone as great as them, instead we can recognize that I've thought this before and it hasn't been true. From this logic, we can move to the dispute that every relationship I learn from, and they all lead to me finding better future relationships. For the second one, they never loved me. Logically, we can say we spent many years or months together. If this is true, then it's very likely they did love us very much. From this logic, we can move on to the positive dispute that I have gratitude and appreciation for the good times we had together. For the belief I should have been a better partner, we can logically say that we did our best and that we grew a lot through the experiences of this relationship. For the negative belief, I don't understand why it didn't work, we can logically see that we don't need to understand everything in life, and it would be unreasonable to expect that we could. This moves us to the positive dispute that I am working towards accepting life on life's terms and staying focused on the present. Once we have all these positive disputes, we summarize them together into an effective way forward. When we summarize the themes of these disputes, we could write an affirmation like, "All the experiences of my life are chances to learn and grow stronger, leading to a foundation of self-acceptance and closer interpersonal relationships." We use these affirmations on a regular basis, sometimes putting them up on a whiteboard in our room to read over and over to ourselves. The more often we use them, the more often our thinking will fall in line with the themes and the values of these affirmations. The last step is to give ourselves some assignments or some actual behaviors and actions to take, which will help put this new affirmation and these new themes into practice. For this ABC, it might be something like calling friends and remaining in communication with the people close to you and sharing how you feel. So guys, this has been an introduction to CBT, or Cognitive Behavioural Therapy, and the ABC tool, which we use quite often in CBT. Thanks for watching.